Hello everyone, welcome back. Good to see you here for the first time or again. So happy you are here. Welcome everyone. I'm going to do some concept design, so this is going to be fun. So thank you so much for joining me. All right. So you should be able to see my screen, and I'm just making sure I can see you guys. And yeah, you're lovely. And we'll review that concept in a second, right? So we'll kind of start from the very beginning to the very end. What's up, Cody Bear? Awesome, cool. There you guys are. Keita Jones. Love the background with the lights. Thanks. I'm fancy like that, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna basically work on a concept, sort of. From beginning to end, right, in Photoshop. As you can see, it's going to be sort of like the human to nature connection, right? So the whole idea that, like, you know, sort of like, I like nature. I hope you do too. But it's like, you know, we breathe in what the trees like breathe out. So it's all about like the interconnectedness of nature. So of course I already have some ideas. You know, we breathe in let's just complete this thought, by the way. Trees breathe out. There we go. Right, so that's our prompt for the day, if you will. So I think there's too many times that we sometimes do some work in Photoshop and we need to kind of do, inhale, exhale. We need to kind of have a concept behind it. Too many times I think it's okay to work in Photoshop and like come up with designs and things like that just if you're learning Photoshop. But if you're putting, I mentioned this a while ago, but it's like you're putting a whale in a fishbowl that's in space, and it's in a lady's hand who's sitting on the moon, who, you know, is also, it's actually a painting being painted by someone else. Like, what are you trying to say? So, like, have a voice, have a perspective. Oh, did I miss the E? Sorry. So, like, yeah, just have a voice. Like, what message are you trying to get across, right? And it could just be like a sense of awe. You can go for that. Breathe better with an E. You know, so that's kind of my main thought. So I'm going to be taking some humans, combining them with nature, things like that. And I'm actually getting those all squared away right now. I have some people in here that we could see. So here's a lovely image, right? That's actually, this kind of sums it up in a way, right? It's awfully dark, so. Wait for it. I might need to restart Photoshop. Everything is running so slow and I can't click on. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. Okay, so Command L. I love looking for auto buttons. Bam. Click auto, right? And we can see how it changes that image. Let's go full screen with it just so you can see what I'm talking about. There we are. So yeah, just automatically adding levels. In here, just so you know, this is what's actually tinting it a color, right? So I could actually change this. So we could have the shadows be blue. Midtones, sure, can be a brown. Let's go with a brighter yellow for the highlights. Right, so what this does is this is actually mapping, and actually for midtones, let's go green, since we are talking about nature, right? Maybe that's a little too much green. Let's dip it back that way. Okay, so basically what we're doing is there's this auto color correction options. So even though in levels you think it's actually just changing the darks and the brights, it's not really changing the color. You actually can add auto color correction options within levels. I don't know if you knew that. So obviously this changes the look entirely. Let's scale that back a little bit. It's a little too green. We don't want her looking sick, right? And there we have it. We click OK. And yeah, save it as defaults, right? So that's there, and now you know. I love levels as well. So usually we have two different groups. We have people who like levels and people that like curves. So let's undo that really fast, and I'll show you kind of what we can do with this image really fast. First off, let's make this a smart object, right? Kind of point that out. This is going to be a smart object. I'm going to give it a second because Photoshop, my whole system's, I'm actually doing a render in the background that I'm going to share with you in a second. But if you do Command L, and let's see if it's under here. We'll go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. Anyways, do Command L. That brings up this levels that I was just playing with, right, where we could hit auto, right, and then it's applying all those auto settings that I had that I was messing with earlier. So I'll click OK, and what happens here is it actually puts it, and this is what I like, it puts it right under here. I use curves more than levels, but it might be my comfort level is lower with levels. I'm the exact opposite, Christine. My comfort level is more with levels, but I've been using curves a lot lately. So I think I kind of like am switching. But I like how if you do a Command L, it nests it under here. So it is still an adjustment layer. Watch what happens if I add levels here. Bing. Oh, it's a separate one, and yeah, I can clip it or whatever. Turn that one off. These two do the same thing, right? So this levels, we'll hit auto, right? They do the exact same thing, but they're kind of treated different ways. Same thing if I do Command U for hue. Right, it gets applied to that layer, like on the layer as a layer like effect. And personally, I like that because you're able to kind of sort of have all those settings, and it just cleans up your layers, your panel a little bit better. Can you convert color spaces? Yes, you can. It might change the color. So if we go to, I'm not sure what you're looking for. I don't know if you mean something like RGB to CMYK. It'll ask me if I want to discard any adjustment layer. And I'm going to say, ooh, actually, change. Okay. Oh, I got so many warnings there. So we'll discard them. I'm so sorry. At least when I go from RGB to CMYK. So, yeah, that's the thing that happens. Okay. Robert, I don't know if that's a question. All you can do in levels, can you do and curves plus little more? I don't mean to pick on you. But, yeah, can you do the same thing? Yeah, pretty much. I think you can do a little bit more with curves. But, you know, more isn't always better. So, more is just more. That's exactly what it is. So I have this, right? Said, okay, well, let's kind of deal with some lungs here, right? Have these nice lungs, right? We'll do just a simple exercise because it's just like something I've wanted to play with. It's actually a skeleton, as we can see, or an X-ray is what it is. Let's do a reveal all. You can see all of it right here. I'm going to start adding some trees to this. So let's have, yes, exactly. Chris, more is just more. More isn't better. It's just more. I mean, come on now. If more was better, why are we dealing with this current trend in design where everything's being simplified? So anyways. Yeah, so, and again, what's better than the other? It all depends on what you're doing. If you just need to brighten up an image, hey, I would jump, like, I don't need the complexity of levels. So I guess what I'm saying is I will defend levels. To my grave, I'll do it. Okay, so we want to add some trees in here. And I thought about adding some trees. We could jump out to, and actually let's jump out here really fast. Let me see if I could actually download images. I've had a tough time downloading images, so don't freak out on me. Let's try this one more time. Okay, finally it's working. Okay, so we can license some things through Adobe Stock, right? Or Unsplash, or wherever you want to download graphics. We'll license this one. Might need that head where it's actually... I'm trying to see, why is it not... It lets me license one image, and then it's like, hold up, Paul. There's the person. We will add them. We're actually going to put them on top of the... let's get rid of that. On top of this, right? So we can kind of blend those two together. And let's see what else we have. Now here, for stock, let's do trees. Type in trees. If it's something generic, we know we can change this to free. And chances are we're going to get some free trees. Sure enough, there's our free trees. Oh yeah, gorgeous. Didn't cost me a thing. I don't know. Sorry, stock team. But you're giving away the images, not me. Just giving away all the goodies. Right, download the trees. Ooh, this one already has the mask with it as well. And again, it's free, so I could license it and run with it. Simplified is a trend in writing too, and simplified is a trend with our language, with the English language and language as a whole. Like, why do we have emojis, right? We could potentially say so much more with a little picture than a whole line of text. So yes, picture's worth 1,000 words. Free trees, Cody Bear. That's right. We love free trees. Look at this one. Ah, come on now. That's everything I need right there. Wow. I love it. So we'll download those. There they are. It's beautiful. Let's get this party started. Go, select color range. Let's get rid of all of that crazy white. We get increase sort of the fuzziness, right? So grab sort of more white. If there were different colors in here, then I would select them as well. But I don't need to worry about that. If I hold down the command key or control key, we can start to see it change, because I could actually come in here and maybe sample in here or sample on the actual image, right? But that's what this toggle does. Just use the command key. It toggles between the two. Okay, so it's giving me the grayscale. Fuzziness, yeah, that looks good. We could kind of crank that up some more. It starts to grab some of the leaves themselves. We'll click OK. We have that selection. That's one easy way of doing it. Hold down the Option key, click, boom, and sure enough, it will like remove all of that white. But I don't even know if these are really the trees that I want, just to be honest with you. So remember, I downloaded a couple. Come on now, let's go there. This one's great. Let's just open up these two. Oh, what are we talking about? A lot not complying, though. There's a whole list. Oh, Marsha. Ah. I don't even know. Ha 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 ha. Cool. All right, so you ready for Adobe Max? We're in a mad dash to get ready, so yeah, for sure. You knew there'd be skull or skeletons or nature. Heck yeah. That's correct as well. I really wish we offered PSDs through Creative Cloud just to have like a layer mask, you know, as part of this. Yeah, because this tree might be one I want to use. This one's, yeah, kind of a pain. Yeah, we can select it. Let's go over here. You get the idea. Let's see if did I get that? Oh yeah, I got it. Copy, paste. Drag this over. Had some weird things happening with my video card. Let's take that. Let's image crop it. Right. Now we have, obviously, this. Okay, let me scroll back down just to make sure. And welcome if you're joining me from elsewhere. Let me make sure I have that chat up as well. There it is. Cool. Okay, question for you guys. I know this is a master class, but you know what? I never said I knew everything, you know? I want to learn as well today. But does anybody know how to take a black and white layer and convert it directly? I literally want to do a click and drag. And I can't quite do that. So that's kind of what I want to be able to do. And I don't know if there's a way. I can do command click on this RGB layer, command click. That will select all of the white, right? And then I can go ahead and switch to that second layer and do that. And you can obviously see it's out of alignment. Come on, buddy. Let's line it up. Anyways, I didn't know if there was an easy way to kind of like, that's how I do it, is I have to go into channels, do a command click on the RGB layer, convert it to a layer mask, and then drag it to the new one. So that's what's happening. So Christine, where do you live? Exactly. Give me your exact address. I'm kidding. Okay, cool. Christine Joan, to get most places you need to show proof of vaccinations, driver license, all that stuff. Hey. Wow, okay. Kind of like when I go in a club, you know, and I have to be 21. I have to show my ID. So that's what I think all this really is. But anyways, I guess, you know, drastic times call for drastic measures. Who knows? Let's convert that to a smart object. We have all these trees. A lot of these trees look more like lungs than that initial tree does. So even if we take a look at this final one, oh yeah. Let's try this. Let's go to channels. Let's go to RGB. Command click. Layer mask. Yeah. Doesn't quite grab everything. That's why using the select color range seems to work pretty well. Boom, there we are, right? If I want to decide to grab some more white, hey, I can do that as well. Let's choke up on that a little bit more. Click OK. Turn it into a mask. Boom, there we are. Command T. Boom. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, Bernadette, I do that. That's the same Adobe joke. Give me your exact address when I ask where you're from. No. I am just kidding. Okay, so this looks more like lungs. Let's convert this to a smart object. Or maybe not even. Maybe I won't do that yet. I'm going to take this, drag this over to my file, and yeah, let's get this party started. Here's all the trees. I'll have some backups. Yeah, I'll take this. Let's do a... Heck, let's do this. Let's convert this to a smart object. I gotta hurry up and do this, but I want to kind of bend some trees into lungs. That is the goal, right? Have this file. It's like way too big. I have this backup. I'll typically keep a bunch of backups in a backup folder. So select those, Command G, boom, and nestle that away, right? Our text, we could put all that away and just work right here. Sorry, my resolution is a little high. I will change my panel options right over here. And yeah, just make sure your panel options show layer bounds. And then I turn off all this stuff. I try to keep this as clean as possible because, man, I usually typically have too many layers. But let's make the thumbnail size a little bit larger. A touch larger. There we are. We're back. There it is. Tree, lungs. Zoop, zoop. Let's get some lungs now. You guys ready for a couple things? This will look good with some green. This is obviously like very large. So yeah, I'm gonna be okay scaling this up, right? Scale that up. Let's start to bend this in place, right? I'll use Puppet Warp, right? You could use what you want, but I like Puppet Warp because it's gonna enable me to put some pins right in here, move this around just like so. So we want to have the mass right here, and then this needs to connect to my windpipe, my esophagus. This isn't me, by the way, it's just a skull. Oh, excuse me, skeleton. Right, we can kind of bend that into place like so. Command J, Command T, right click, flip horizontal. Oops, I said flip horizontal. Bam, hit enter. Move that over here. We got the start of our design. Tuning in from Canada, D, what's up? Yeah, make those thumbnails bigger. I swear, it's so helpful. I'm constantly changing resolutions, I realized. I'm like always changing resolutions, just like recording and stuff. So I'm constantly changing the size of those. So since this is a smart object, we have Puppet Warp right in here, right? We could double click, it's gonna bring that back up. Oops, hello. That did something insane. Oh, that is interesting. I think it's because I flipped it. So let's just trash this. Get rid of Puppet Warp. So I just realized that Puppet Warp's going to have a hard time. In fact, let's change this to white. Let's do a color overlay of white or green or something else. I'm just going to try to brighten it up, right? There we go. We can make that look like actual trees. There we are. For this, I don't know if you know this. Again, I think we're going to do a stump Cody Bear. Figure out if we can show her something new, huh? How about that? How about if I try to hit everybody? Everybody can tell me if you knew about this or not, okay? So I think this will be a fun game. First off, Option key, we can click and drag anything to this other layer, and it will duplicate it, right? Conversely, I can just grab it and move it up. So that will move that color overlay from one to the next. Again, I hold down the Option or Alt key if you're on a PC, and it will go ahead and duplicate it, right? Same thing if there happens to be a layer mask. So if there happens to be a layer mask right in here that I want to move to the other one, Option, click, and drag, it copies it to the other ones. So again, we're going to try to see if we can... let's do that. Let's do like stump chat. I'm going to try to like stump you guys or show chat something new, right? That's what it should always be. You should always be seeing something new. But I realize how smart everybody is in chat. So I'm like, let me try to show you something new, okay? So that's the goal. Just because it'll be fun. Okay, we'll move this in. We'll just, as we work on our design, of course. Here's our lovely lungs. I want them to be different, right? Can't look quite like the same tree, right? That's why I'm kind of just pulling that out like so. And I don't even know if this looks like a tree anymore, does it? Okay, bring back our phrase. And by the way, you could always stump somebody with shortcuts, because everybody uses different shortcuts. That's kind of a cheap, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking like actual features. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll crop this in some more. Change the canvas size. Maybe we will make this a perfect square, shall we? So the height, same as the width. Click OK. There we are. Sort of the start of our design. All right. Oh, Marsha, that is a good question. If trees have bad breath, it's probably our fault, right? It is our fault. We will pick a brush on a new layer, and we can extend this up. Let's make sure we have a hard round. Kind of continue that up like that or something. Nudge it over a little bit and play with the perspective. So let's take all of this. We're going to put it in a new layer group. Boom. Lungs. There we are. And notice how everything in here is white, right? I have these different color, well, I have color overlays. Yeah, I have a color overlay on these two. Everything in here is white, but I have two color overlays, and this is also white. I can actually take this and drag it up to that layer folder, that layer group right there. That way I don't need these two, right? And now everything is controlled by this color overlay. So as we change it, right, we decide we want to go with black or a different color, right? We have that sort of flexibility. Okay, and let's actually turn this off for a second. Let's turn that off. Let's add, are you ready for this? All right, so let's just say I want to brighten this up. So I'll add an adjustment layer, and this time we'll use curves. Since we got some curves fans out there, we'll do an S curve, which all that is that adds contrast, right? It's affecting everything, including the background, as we can see, right? I want it to just affect what's in this lungs folder. You could do this, right? You could do this. Okay, boom. So now the curves layer is just going to affect what's in this lungs folder. Okay, so it doesn't affect the background anymore. Okay, you knew that. Ooh, add some butterflies. Yes, Chris. Please, can I please? Let's do this as well. So let me just make this a little larger. Here's a better way to do things. And this is where I want to try to see like who knows about this. Because I just thought of this use case the other day. Like literally, I think it was yesterday or the day before. But you know, again, I'm all for simplification, right? It would be nice if this was actually in here. Like, rather than doing this clipping mask, and this works fine. Does the color overlay trick work for masks? Yes, it does. By that, I mean the click and drag. So basically, we could put this back in here inside of the folder, right? Currently, this is affecting, and let's close those up. Tree, X-ray. Let's get rid of that. So the curves is now affecting everything, right? Just like it was before. But we can have as many adjustment layers in here as we want. So we could have hue and saturation and crank that up. And we could just have it affect what's in this layer folder. And how you do that is you go to that layer folder, right? Go to that layer group, and instead of pass through, don't pass all those effects through to the rest of the composition. Keep it contained within this composition. So let me just close that. So what we'll do is I'll do instead of changing it to pass through, it's going to be changed to normal. We change that to normal, and now it's constrained within this folder. So now, if I do, again, add anything else, let's do an invert, because we'll be able to tell that. That invert just affects what's in that layer folder. And all you need to do is change this layer group, sorry I use those names interchangeably, to normal. Could we have some of the ribs over like in the trees? Let's work on the composition now. Okay, so I was trying to stump you guys to see who knew that. Did anybody know that? Because I just found out about it. But again, I'm a simple man. All right, here's one design. We'll just hit save and we'll move on. Reverse, how would a reverse idea look? Like trees with human lungs and then human lungs in trees. I love the idea. Lungs are just a weird shape. So I got, well, I don't know. Yeah, that will be interesting. So my initial thought there is you could take the shape of lungs and put them in trees. So I actually have this file, by the way. We might need it, but that's what I was thinking of doing. Or that's my initial take. Or humans in tree lungs. Yep. It's getting weird. It's getting weird, everybody. So here we have this asset. I've downloaded additional assets, right? So we have her. I actually need more of the human body, just so you know. And I actually used dimension as well. Looks like here it is done. So I used dimension. I've rendered out a couple things. Yeah, lungs are strange and spongy. They are. I've never like touched an actual lung. I assume it's hard and clean, but maybe it is pretty spongy. I don't know what it really looks like, but here's the render. And again, I got this off of stock. So you could go to free and then just clear this out. Actually, what was I looking for? Skeleton. You guys saw me download this probably earlier, but there is a free skeleton in here. Why is it not showing up? I don't know. Anyway, that's where I got this skeleton. Dimension. Here we go. We'll turn on some of these other elements. You could see what this is. So I said, hey, let's just, rather than me trying to find photos, let's get the exact angle I want. Let's get some lungs in there, right? And have those rendered out. So that's basically what I did. Right, there's the lungs. Let's take a look at everything else. Let's close that. Let's bring her over there. Close that. And group this content. So this is design 1. Let me just organize this stuff. Okay, cool. Now we can begin design 2 right in here. Or maybe right in here. All these are the same size, so design 2. Sorry about that long pause. Umacorn, how you doing? Afroja, Norsh, Arsalan. It lives. Yes, Christine Williams, Gigi. Hey. Good evening from India. Cool. So now we have this, which clearly looks 3D and fake and all that fun stuff. Yeah. Let's try something else. You ready for this? So we rendered in this content. We have these lungs. Let's do this. Let's have some fun here. Let's show you what we can create in Photoshop. Because filter, we'll go to render, and we'll render our own trees. So right here, render tree. Okay, gives us this dialog. Oh yeah. Using the young maple tree because it's not too thick overall, because I want to kind of show the like all the, I don't know, veins or bronchioles. I don't know what it is. There's the leaves coming through. Let's take that down. There we go. So again, this gives me that full control, really, that I just don't have otherwise. Cool. That looks good. We could use the default leaves on this. Let's change the leaf size. There we go. I want more like, I don't know, more of your typical leaf shape. There we have that. Looks good. And then there's a lot more we can do, but we'll just click OK, and it will render this out. Renders it out the size of the file, which is great. And we start playing with this. Yeah, you can do that for trees. Yes, you can. All right. Command T, flip vertically. Make it a smart object, because before I start scaling things down, I typically like to convert them to smart objects. Now, here's some other things we could do. It's like, what if we want a perfect shape, right? We want a specific path. So let's do this. You ready for this, Carol? And everyone else, but specifically Carol. I don't know why. Let's go to the pen tool. We'll change the pen tool to path. And we'll just draw a path. So we'll draw a path down here. It's going to go this way and in there. So it's a simple line, but it's curved. Everybody see that? We have this curved line. In paths, we'll make sure that is selected. Again, might even use my select tool. And we'll make sure we have a layer. So we have this blank layer because we need to put this tree there. Here's the problem with this. I'm going to reverse this, right? I'm going to flip this upside down, technically, right? Because that's just the direction. In fact, I want the direction of the tree. The branches are naturally going to kind of grow up and out. So that's why I'm giving it this sort of angle. So go to render, tree, right? And now we get the shape I'm looking for. So rather than using any warps or anything like that, we actually get the shape of the lungs, which is much more preferred in this case. So all right, cool. So there we go. So we kind of have what we want. I already have these settings set up. I think that looks pretty good. We'll click OK. Right, there's our shape, right? We can do the same thing, grab that path. Again, this time we will Command T, we will flip horizontal. We'll move it over here, right? Well, actually, which way does it go? Yeah, that's right, like that. Technically, again, we'll work on the placement in a second. It'll be clear in a second. And again, this one's gonna be different than this one. So, filter, render, tree. And I might alter this a little bit. Like I could, since it's flipped, I want to change the light direction to sort of like the other side. Maybe just kind of change the arrangement a little bit just to make it look different. We'll click OK. And now we have the other side. Ooh, it still looks like it's very mirrored. I'm trying to not have this mirroredness. Notice how that one is currently mirrored, but the others are set to kind of like be pretty much random. So let's run it again. Hey, let's run it again. Render, tree. Let's check. There we go. Click OK. Ah, that one's different. There we go. Cool. Does that make sense? Have that. Let's bring back this craziness. It's so dark. I need to fix this. Marsha says she's feel like she's woken up in the future. Welcome to the future. Right, that's what we're going for. We're trying to make people realize, hey, you know what? Nature and trees are good. By the way, I'm not Paco, by the way. Paco's out there. He is mixing it up. He's playing in the woods, things like that. I just admire the woods from afar. And I live in Colorado. And like a true Coloradoan, I don't spend as much time in the mountains as I should. All right, there's that. There's this one. And honestly, I'm not like anytime you do something that is obviously like rendered and not a real photograph, you do run the risk of it just looking kind of fake, just to be honest with you. And that's where I think this is at. It's looking a little fake. All right, and I'm not sure how to fix it. So remember, I did this render. I have the skeleton here. I have these. I have this. I have all sorts of things going on. Yeah, so anyways, that's, again, trying to show you tips? Trying to show you tips and tricks. Mainly when it comes to sort of like developing a concept. I think I've kind of beaten this concept to a pulp. And yes, the trees should be where the lungs are under the rib cage. You're exactly right. Like, should it be like this? Should we actually grab a nature image and like put it in the background? Is that what we need, like a real photograph? Just checking the time. I only have about 15 minutes, by the way. So I'm trying to see what I can... get done in time. Green forest. Oh yeah, like this one. Gorgeous image. Checking to see what works. I actually want this to be not an aerial shot. It really needs to be like at eye level. Maybe like this one. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for something like this. Paco's out there mixing it up, making a difference. I'm busy hanging out indoors, admiring it from a distance. All right, let's make this square since we have this layout that we like. Let's crunch it down some more. Kind of like that. Oh, good. So yeah, I agree 100%, Michelle. What was happening with it? Well, it was looking way too fake because everything was just generated using 3D. There was no real image. I'm a big advocate of using real images. Like, that's the one lesson I learned right when I was out of art school. My very first job, my very first art director was won awards and stuff like that. We just got to hire her for one day, and she was like, you need to actually use real photos whenever you get a chance. So, especially, I mean, basically if you're going for realism, and that's kind of, again, the style I'm going for. Command G will group those. We'll use our new trick that we learned, which is, yeah, maybe using curves. And then, again, we don't want to brighten up the whole image. We want to select that group, which is going to be the trees. and then change pass through to normal, and then it just affects everything within that lovely folder. And we could add a couple of these. Hue and saturation, crank that up. Right there, we're getting the brightness we want. Flip them. Anyway. I don't know. What does everybody think? Select this. Now I'm just bending this so it fits these lungs a little better. Just like that. Okay. Okay, you're liking how it looks now better. So, okay, I think we got it, right? Again, we don't want to spend too much time on this because I only have an hour. I am going to add a lens flare. Since we see that lens flare coming from right here, we need to add a new lens flare that's over the top of everything. We'll click OK. Make this all black. And then we'll go to, and we've been using this render a lot. So we could have done the same things with flames, picture frame. I'm going to go down to lens flare and right in here. This is where I'll just go ahead and roughly position it where it was. Click OK. There's my lens flare. And then we want to remove the black. To remove the black, it's going to mean going to the second section right in here. This will move the light colors or white. This will remove the black. So when I do that, yep, sure enough, it removes it. Change that to something like screen, right? Kind of position that like that. So now we have that sort of burst over it, right? If it's making it too bright elsewhere, what do we need to do? Well, we could just go down here and clip it. Boom. So before and then after. Oh, wait, hold on. Just the trees are in there. Let's take both of these. Let's group them. Clip. There we are. So here we have before, after. Because I only want this lens flare to be on the lungs and the trees and stuff like that. We'll make sure this is angled correctly. Should be more like that. All right, you guys get it. We got this done. Cool. Lens flare. All right, so we did this. I could do plenty of blending. What I'm noticing as I dropped in this background is this tree back here almost lines up with the esophagus. So let's make these two parts like line up, right? Command T, scale it up some more. And we'll maybe give it a little bit of a rotation. Or not. Do something like that. Okay, and now we'll bend this into place. And here's my rendered image. Something else is down there. That's weird. There we go. Okay. Lungs. Smart object. Puppet warp. Maybe we'll bend this a little bit. Ooh. Add a couple pins just to pin it down in places. And then we can like rotate that so it's going to line up with that tree. Hit enter. You guys get the idea. Checking the time. I have 5 minutes. Jeez, I never have enough time. Shoot. Yeah, you can actually add an adjustment layer to the actual folder itself. Yeah. Cool. I would probably actually like take this. Let's do a Command J to jump it. We'll rasterize this layer. Hey, why not? Oh no, maybe I didn't want to do that. I want it to be smaller. Okay, well anyways, let's just do this. Let's take this. We'll do this time we'll do a warp on this image. And we'll start dividing it up. So right here, I can take this and divide it vertically, say right here, maybe horizontally right here. And let's just grab this top part and let's put some other lines off to the side. So I'm just doing this warp because I want to grab the middle of this. And still, let's split this right here. And let's grab this and just kind of bend it over because I want it to just be like a little straighter. That's what I want. Okay, done. But not quite. Pop a warp. Let's line this back up. Like so. I don't know, just ideas, people. I didn't say that they were good ideas. Add levels, make it darker, but not everywhere. Make it darker right up there. There we go, something kind of like that. I don't know. Okay. I use the puppet tool. Are the lungs just a bit transparent as it imports? You know what would be really cool is we take that background. So let's do this. We're gonna select, we're gonna duplicate this. We're gonna turn off these lungs, but I'm gonna add a layer mask right here. Okay, so now what I have, let's turn off everything else. I have these lungs on the inside. That alone is cool, by the way. This alone gets the point across, right? That's kind of cool as well. Kind of gets our point across. I was thinking of adding a blur to this, by the way. So let's do Command J. Let's do this. Let's just delete this layer mask. Let's convert this to a smart object because I want to add a blur to it. Right? So again, we could morph this, spherize it, do all sorts of things. Again, click and drag, move that up. Now we have a blurry version. So we have sort of the blurry version on the inside, and then we can put this one on top, and maybe we're just playing around. Play with this blend mode, right? So we can see that blurriness. It would look even better if it was more blurry and it was distorted as well. So we really need to distort this particular shape. So Command T, right click, warp, and then we'll just start bending the trees in here. Hit enter. Right. So anyways, that's all I'm playing with. Yeah, I don't know if that added anything to it. All right, so that's enough for this. You guys get the idea. We have it all squared away. We have 2 designs. I have 1 minute, so that means I'm going to start a 3rd concept. Just kidding. But we could do infinite varieties of this. We could do an aerial shot looking down at the earth, and a group of trees make the shape of the lungs. Since it's such a recognizable shape, you know, we could take this any way we want. You know, what else? What else can we do? Flipping the concept, which is a great idea we got from chat. You know, and my thought there was like the leaves of the tree are little lungs, but I think that just sounds gross. But there's a way that we could pull it off, and what I would do is I'd make it really graphic, so make it flat, because you don't want all these weird sinews of the, you know, the lungs on the trees. But so yeah, that's that's kind of where this is at. Hopefully everybody likes it. I'll try to get this squared away a little bit more and post it to Instagram, to all my socials, which I really need to put up somewhere at some point. But you get the idea. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. And honestly, pretty easy concept. Like, come on, you can't tell me you can't look at lungs and see trees, right? Flip it upside down. I don't know. All right, guys. Animated, that's my next version because I have an animated tree, and I'd love to do an animated tree blossoming. So anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned. We got more masterclasses with everyone today. So thanks so much for watching.